Hi, I'm Kelly Lindeen, and for this lesson plan I chose to focus on a student with autism, but one on the higher end of the spectrum who can work well in the inclusion classroom with some differentiation. I called the student Reggie my lesson plan. He's a 7th grader who has difficulties with reading comprehension, organization, social skills, and impulse control. The lesson plan that I made combines both social studies and literacy, using the topic of traveling the Oregon Trail as kind of a basis for practicing paragraph writing. Reggie's worksheets and reading materials are both differentiated for this lesson. And I guess this is kind of a sample of how I would utilize my lesson plan. Alright, what time period have we been learning about for the past 2 weeks? Oregon Trail. Who has ever wanted to take a cross-country road trip? What if the year was 1850 and you had to take your whole family in a horse or oxen-drawn covered wagon? Today, we will continue to explore what life might be like on the Oregon Trail. And you guys can decide for yourselves if you would move your family to the west in the 1800s. Now, as we move through today's class period, you will gather information that you will use to write a short paragraph describing whether you would or would not travel the Oregon Trail. We will work on how to properly write a paragraph, and then your peers will help you edit your work. So let's take a look at today's schedule. So we have number 1 is PowerPoint. 2, gather evidence from our readings. Number 3, organize sentences for our paragraph. 4, we'll work on peer editing. And 5, we'll have our closing meeting in the back of the classroom. So to start out, I'm going to show you guys a PowerPoint. I'll pretend the PowerPoint won't happen. So now that your memories are jogged, let's take a look at our readings from last week. Please take out your reading packets. Johnny, please hand out this worksheet to everyone. So we're going to focus on 2 steps right now. First, on your worksheet it says, answer the question, would you want to travel the Oregon Trail in the 1800s, yes or no? So first you're going to circle 1. Then you're going to look in your readings for evidence of why. So each of you have about 4 different readings. I want you to find direct evidence and write down the page number and where you got, who the author was and who wrote the article that you got your information from. Okay, so we did our PowerPoint and we finished gathering our evidence. In order to write a proper sentence, can we just hand in our worksheet with all our evidence on it, or do we need to turn it into a paragraph? We need to organize our sentences for our paragraph. So what's the first sentence in a paragraph? It's the introduction. It's what introduces us to the topic. So what might you include in your introduction, in your first sentence? If you would, yes or no, if you would go on the Oregon Trail. What's next? What's in the middle of our paragraph? That's where we include our supporting details. So, and then what goes at the very end? the conclusion. What does the conclusion do? Wraps everything up. Which section would we put all the information we just found in our readings? In our details section. Now I know we've all been working on paragraphs this year, so let's give it a try, and we're going to each practice how we're going to form our introduction, our details, and our conclusion. When you're done, find a partner, and you're going to peer edit. For the peer editing part, you and your partner can go anywhere in the classroom that you're comfortable, so that you guys can have privacy and get everything done that you need to do. Alright. And, alright, so then after the peer editing, I would have everyone go back to their seats and create a packet with all the work that they had done that day and attach it to their homework, which would be them actually writing the paragraph. So that would kind of be my assessment to see, did all the students and did Reggie in particular reach his two goals, which were that he'll write a yes or no response to the posed question with 2 why details, which are on his graphic organizer, and write a concluding sentence. So, and he needs to write 4 sentences total. So that'll be evidenced in his homework. And goal 2 for Reggie was he will cite evidence directly from supplied in class text in his writing. And once again, that's kind of going to be from the part where they're looking at their reading packets and finding information, and then making sure that he uses that in the paragraph that he wrote. Okay. All Reggie's worksheets are differentiated. He only needs 2 details. The rest of the class, as it's 7th grade, requires 4 details, maybe 2 sentences per detail as opposed to 1. And the peer editing section was kind of there to really help the student Reggie, who has autism, have more opportunities to interact with his peers, as that's something that's difficult for kids with autism. And then at the end of the lesson, we would kind of wrap things up by having a class meeting in the back of the room, so that the students can kind of have an opportunity to discuss what they learned that day, what was hard, what they remembered, kind of just an informal assessment to kind of just let the kids have a discussion kind of about what they learned that day. Alright, I hope that was great. You probably can tell I hate being on camera, but that is my lesson on literacy and the Oregon Trail. Alright, thanks and bye.